know it's a little after 11. I'm running behind this morning. But with VBS this week, that might be the way it runs. I tried to do 11, but we'll see how it works out. It's kind of a crazy week around here at First Baptist. We are doing our daily lectionary readings for Monday, June 7th. And our readings for today, again, give everybody a chance to click the link if you want to follow along, is Psalm 108. We're starting a new psalm today. 1 Samuel 7, 3 to 15. And then Revelation 20, 1 to 6. Get in the book of Revelation. It's not Revelations, by the way. That's a pet peeve of mine. It's kind of like nails on a chalkboard when I hear people talk about Revelations, because that's not the name. Excuse me. So let's just go ahead and kick this pig and get it started. That's probably a bad expression to use when I'm talking about reading the scriptures. It's a real hillbilly expression too, isn't it? Anyway, Psalm 108. My heart is steadfast. O God, my heart is steadfast. I will sing and make melody. Awake, my soul. Awake, O harp and lyre. I will awake the dawn. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the peoples, and I will sing praises to you among the nations. For your steadfast love is higher than the heavens, and your faithfulness reaches to the clouds. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens, and let your glory be over all the earth. Give victory with your right hand, and answer me, so that those whom you love may be rescued. God has promised us his sanctuary. With exultation, I will divide up Shechem and portion out the vale of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, Ephraim is my helmet, Judah is my scepter, Moab is my wash basin. On Edom I hurl my shoe, over Philistia I shout in triumph. Who will bring me to the fortified city? Who will lead me to Edom? Have you not rejected us, O God? You do not go out, O God, with our armies, or grant us help against the foe. For human help is worthless. With God we shall do valiantly. It is he who will tread down our foes. There's a lot there. And we usually stick with these psalms for a few days, so we'll get into it some more. 1 Samuel 7, 3 to 15. Then Samuel said to all of the house of Israel, if you are returning to the Lord with all your heart, then put away the foreign gods and the Astartes from among you. Direct your heart to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. So Israel put away the Baals and the Astartes, and they served the Lord only. And then Samuel said, gather all Israel at Mizpah, and I will pray to the Lord for you. So they gathered at Mizpah and drew water and poured it out before the Lord. And they fasted that day and said, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the people of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that the people of Israel had gathered at Mizpah, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the people of Israel heard it, they were afraid of the Philistines. The people of Israel said to Samuel, do not cease to cry out to the Lord our God for us, and pray that he may save us from the hand of the Philistines. So Samuel took a sucking lamb and offered it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. And Samuel cried out to the Lord for Israel, and the Lord answered him. As Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to attack Israel. But the Lord thundered with a mighty voice that day against the Philistines and threw them into confusion, and they were routed before Israel. And the men of Israel went out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines and struck them down as far as Beth-kar. And then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Jeshanah and named it Ebenezer. For he said, thus far the Lord has helped us. So the Philistines were subdued and did not again enter the territory of Israel. The hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. And the towns that the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron to Gath. And Israel recovered their territory from the hand of the Philistines. And there was also peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. There's a couple things here. One is my horrible pronunciation. It's one of those things I grew up hearing Baal, and even though intellectually I know and I've heard, the scholars will tell you it's Baal. I say Baal. I don't know why. I can't not get rid of that vestige of my childhood, I guess. And the other note here is Ebenezer means stone of help. And we actually have a song, Here I Raise My Ebenezer. So is that the stone of help? That is where the Lord helped them. So they raised the Ebenezer. All right, let's go to Revelation, which is one of the most discussed, argued over books of the Bible, I think. Just being apocalyptic literature is confusing enough to people. A lot of people don't understand that genre and how it was used in ancient Syria, Palestine. If you talk to 10 religious or Bible scholars about anything in Revelation, you will probably get 15 answers. So if you hear people, including me, say, this is what this means, and only this, they're probably talking out of their hat. Or at least that's just their opinion, and is not a consensus. There's very little consensus over some of these images that they talk about, the author of Revelation uses. Anyway, Revelation 20. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to a bottomless pit and a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the pit, and locked and sealed it over him, so that he would deceive the nations no more, until the 1,000 years were ended. After that, he must be let out for a little while. And then I saw thrones, and those seated on them were given the authority to judge. And I also saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their testimony to Jesus and for the word of God. And they had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their foreheads or their hands. And they came to life and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy are those who share in the first resurrection. Over these the second death has no power, but they will be priests of God and of Christ, and they will reign with him 1,000 years. Top of my head, the one thing is that I would like to comment on, without having done intensive study on this passage, is the whole Satan thing. Satan is actually a Hebrew. It's not a name. It's a job title. The Hebrew is Hasatan, and it's the accuser or the adversary. If you remember, like from the book of Job, the story of Job, the Satan, the adversary, the accuser, went to God and saying, "Yeah, of course Job loves you. You made his life wonderful. But if we give him hardship, he'll turn from you." And God said, "Well, go ahead, try it." It's the accuser. It's the Hasatan. The name of Satan as the devil or some evil entity is something that evolved post-biblical era for the most part. So when you see Satan, you really shouldn't be thinking red guy with horns and a tail and a pitchfork. It's the accuser. It's the adversary. Anyway, we'll more on that later, I'm sure. If you talk to me for any length of time, you'll probably hear more of that later. All right, that's all I got for you for today, Monday, the 7th of June. And I will see you guys later.